The sea was quieter than Emma remembered. Soft waves rolled slowly toward the shore, catching silver reflections from the moonlight above. The night air smelled of salt, cool wind, and distant rain somewhere beyond the horizon. Emma stood at the edge of the empty beach, holding her coat gently against the breeze. The small wooden pier stretched quietly into the dark water, exactly the same as it had years ago. Nothing had changed, and somehow, everything had. Some places hold memories differently, not loudly, not painfully, just patiently. As if they are waiting for us to return. Emma began walking slowly along the shore. The sand shifted softly beneath her steps. Above her, clouds drifted lazily across the moon, and somewhere far away, a lighthouse glowed quietly through the darkness. It had been 6 years since she last came here, 6 years since that final summer evening, 6 years since the promise. "We'll come back here someday." The words still lived clearly inside her memory, soft, simple, honest. Spoken beneath the stars by someone she once believed she would never lose. Daniel. The wind moved gently through her hair as she closed her eyes briefly, and for a moment the years between then and now disappeared. She remembered everything: the warm summer nights, the sound of waves outside the old beach house, the quiet conversations that lasted until sunrise, and the small wooden pier where they spent hours watching the moon reflect across the sea. Back then, everything had felt endless, like time itself had slowed down for them. But life rarely stays still forever. Daniel had left the city soon after that summer ended. A new job, another country, another life waiting for him somewhere far away. At first, they promised to stay close. Late-night phone calls, messages that stretched until morning, plans to visit each other soon. But slowly, life became louder, busier, more complicated, and little by little, distance quietly settled between them. Until eventually, the silence remained longer than the conversations. Emma stopped walking beside the old pier. The wood creaked softly beneath the wind. Moonlight shimmered across the dark water below, and standing there again, she realized something strange. Her heart no longer felt sad, only quiet, because sometimes time softens memories instead of erasing them. She stepped onto the pier slowly. The familiar sound beneath her feet immediately brought back another memory. Daniel laughing softly beside her, holding 2 cups of coffee in his hands, the ocean wind moving around them, and the promise whispered gently into the night. "We'll return here one day." Emma smiled faintly to herself. "Looks like I kept my promise," she whispered softly. The sea answered only with quiet waves. She walked to the very end of the pier and sat down carefully near the edge. The water below moved peacefully beneath the moonlight. The entire world felt calm, almost dreamlike. Then suddenly, she heard footsteps. Slow, soft, familiar. Emma turned slightly. At first, she thought it was only another memory playing tricks on her. But then she saw him. Daniel, standing at the beginning of the pier beneath the moonlight. Still, quiet, watching her with the same calm eyes she remembered years ago. For a moment, neither of them moved. Neither of them spoke. The wind continued softly around them. The waves rolled gently against the shore, and the years between them felt impossibly small. Daniel smiled faintly. "You came back." Emma felt her heart move softly inside her chest. Not with surprise, not with fear, but with recognition. "You did too," she whispered. The moonlight reflected quietly across the ocean around them, and somewhere deep inside her, Emma realized something. Some promises never truly disappear, they simply wait patiently for the right moment to return. The wind moved softly across the water. Gentle waves touched the shore beneath the pier, their quiet rhythm filling the silence around them. For a long moment, Emma and Daniel simply looked at each other. No rushing, no explanations. Only the strange, calm feeling of finding someone again in the exact place where they once said goodbye. Daniel walked slowly toward her along the wooden pier. The moonlight reflected softly across the dark ocean behind him. And somehow, even after all these years, his presence still felt familiar, comforting. Emma smiled faintly. "I thought maybe I imagined that promise," she admitted quietly. Daniel shook his head softly. I never forgot it. The words settled gently into the night air, simple, honest, real. Daniel stopped beside her near the edge of the pier. For a moment, both of them looked out toward the sea. The horizon stretched endlessly beneath the moonlight. Clouds moved slowly overhead, and somewhere in the distance, the lighthouse continued glowing quietly against the dark sky. It still feels the same here, Daniel said softly. Emma nodded. Yes, like time slowed down and waited for us. Daniel laughed quietly. You always said places could remember people. Emma smiled. And you always said I was too romantic. Daniel looked toward her gently. Maybe you were right. The wind carried the scent of salt and rain softly through the night. Emma closed her eyes briefly, letting the cool air settle around her. And for the first time in years, everything inside her felt calm. No matter where I went, Daniel admitted quietly, I kept thinking about this place. Emma looked toward the water below. I tried not to. Daniel smiled faintly. Did it work? Emma laughed softly beneath her breath. Not even a little. The sound of the ocean surrounded them peacefully, and somehow the silence between them no longer felt heavy, only familiar. I almost came back sooner, Daniel said after a while. Emma looked at him quietly. What stopped you? Daniel lowered his eyes slightly. Fear, probably. Emma understood immediately, because some people are not difficult to love. They are difficult to lose. I was afraid too, she admitted softly. Daniel looked surprised. You? Emma smiled faintly. I thought maybe returning here would hurt. Daniel glanced out toward the sea again. And does it? Emma watched the moonlight moving across the water, then slowly shook her head. No, not anymore. The waves rolled gently beneath the pier, the lighthouse blinked softly in the distance, and above them the clouds slowly drifted away from the moon, leaving the night brighter than before. Daniel leaned slightly against the wooden railing. Do you remember the night we made that promise? He asked quietly. Emma smiled immediately. You spilled coffee all over the pier. Daniel laughed softly. And you said it was proof the universe didn't trust me with hot drinks. Emma laughed too. The sound felt lighter than she expected. Warmer, like something old finally becoming soft again. It's strange, Daniel said quietly after a moment. For years I thought coming back here would feel sad. Emma looked toward him. But it doesn't. He shook his head slowly. It feels peaceful. The word stayed with her, because peaceful was exactly what this night felt like. Not dramatic, not overwhelming. Just calm, like the ocean itself had been patiently waiting for them to stop running from the past. The wind softened around them. The sea moved quietly below, and somewhere nearby, the sound of distant waves blended gently with the night air. Emma looked toward the horizon. Do you ever think life brings people back for a reason? She asked softly. Daniel thought for a moment, then smiled gently. I think some people are part of the story, no matter how much time passes. Emma lowered her eyes slightly, feeling warmth move softly through her chest. Because some truths arrive quietly, without effort, without explanation. The night grew deeper around them, but neither of them seemed ready to leave. Finally, Daniel looked toward her again. So, what happens now? Emma smiled softly. The moonlight shimmered across the ocean behind them. The wind moved gently through her hair, and standing beside him beneath the quiet stars, the answer suddenly felt simple. We stopped disappearing from each other's lives. Daniel smiled, a real smile this time, warm, certain. Together they remained at the end of the pier, watching the moonlight dance softly across the water. And somewhere beyond the quiet waves, beyond the years that had separated them, beyond the promises and memories and distance, they both understood something at the same time. Some places are not meant to hold goodbye. Some places are meant to bring people home again.